All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to do things a little bit out of order because I hear people need to know more about building wealth with inner city rentals and what they can do. Because you can implement more cash flow ideas when your neighborhood is safer, nicer, and people want to be there. The neighborhood is definitely a cap on what you can do um, with your rental properties. So I wrote this book called Building Wealth with Inner City Rentals, and this is going to be a high-level overview. I want to keep this fairly short. If you want to know more, I'll tell you about that at the end. Okay, so landlords in troubled neighborhoods can increase their cash flow. That's what we're talking about this course. Property values and quality of tenants by leading campaigns to improve the orderliness of the community surrounding their property. So I have cash flow and orderliness in red so that you would draw the connection. Cash flow is directly proportional to the orderliness of your rental property and your neighborhood. So here is my conceptual model showing you the journey of a revitalized neighborhood. All neighborhoods fit along this pathway somewhere, and I'm going to walk you through this. Let me walk you through this. So A is for acquire, that's that flag there. B is for boat, burn the boat. C is for catalyze, and D stands for, oh no, C stands for we're the champions, D stands for being discovered, neighborhood being discovered, and E stands for exit. We can exit your property by either selling the property or just switching to be a regular landlord and no longer needing these techniques. Okay, and as you move from left to right along this arrow here, that's your neighborhood becoming more orderly. Back at A is when things are all out of sync. No one's calling the police because there's no confidence. Um, Small things just don't get done because no one is in charge. And as you move over towards the E area, that's when you have regularly scheduled activities and lots of parent-teacher communication, all those types of things. You have someone who's an advocate for your neighborhood, all those types of things. Now going up from the bottom up, following this arrow here, is property values. Down in A, when things are out of control, property values are lower, they're burdened. As they move up towards E, when things become more organized, then you actually can have your property be equal to all the other normal properties. I'm not saying it's going to be a premium property, but it should fall within the normal pricing for that type of property in a nice neighborhood. Okay, so let's focus here down on A, acquire. That's what it stands for. This is I'm recommending for this model of landlord-driven neighborhood revitalization that you buy low. That's in the A area. You acquire property that's in disarray. There's safety issues, gang issues, drug issues at this spot. If you wanted to buy low and sell high, well, this is where you enter. Okay, now I have this loop here, this little circular path here, because to represent what neighborhoods do. Usually is a cycle between silence and violence, between candlelight visuals and big promises. People say, hey, things are going to get better, and then they don't. There's always these different promises made to the community, and they aren't kept. And you see random gunfire, people speak out in outrage, but nothing ends up happening. So that's why this circle is there, because a lot of neighborhoods are on that pathway, just going round and around, nothing changes. So to make that jump, we're not going to talk about everything in this overview, but to make that jump is you need leadership. You need leadership to get past that, out of that loop, across that river, and to be where you actually burn the boat. So that's the gap, and that's what's going to make the change there, is people coming together, using teamwork, and dealing with their safety issues. A leader's going to be winding that together to help people get over that river, which represents making a decision and getting to the B, where they can burn the boat and not go back. Okay, let's talk about B, burn the boat. Every neighborhood has to do that where they're just saying we're not going to tolerate bad behavior anymore. There needs to be enough people making that transition over to B to make the change in the neighborhood. So it's important that a leader understands that you don't need everybody, but you need the majority of the people to make that decision, cross that river, and burn the boat. Let's talk about what I did, what I lived through. In my neighborhood, there was this Washington Market here. It was a historical place for drug dealing and gang violence. Lots of random gunfire and things like that around this area. Very dangerous place to be. If you were in the cycle of prison and release and drugs, you would get arrested, and if you wanted to get reconnected back with your gang or reconnected back with the drug scene, you would come right to Washington Market. So the neighborhood did everything we could. We played classical music, we changed ownerships, we all kinds of different sanctions on it, limit the number of people that were coming in and out of that market, but nothing changed, nothing happened because it was more of a symbol. As long as this market was there, people were going to come to it, and we were not able to get out of the cycle. So we burned the boat by actually buying the building. The neighborhood association, and along with the city of Sacramento, bought the building and tore it down, and that's what got rid of the issue. So it's important to know what exactly the issue is at your neighborhood, and everyone come onto the same page and take action. And again, that takes leadership for that. Okay, the journey from B to C is was going to involve new norms, and that's a long conversation. But it's basically teaching people how to behave without that burden, how to be normal and normal, healthy neighbors. C stands for we're the champions. Every neighborhood can get to this. Your neighborhood may be there where they like being a secret, being a good kept secret. Um, this is important to know because this is the beginning of the lag phase. So here's my friend representing we're the champions, and this graph really shows, this is a different graph of the one I showed you showing you the journey. You can see a C here in this range here. Let me highlight it here. This period here between C and D is called the lag. A lot of neighborhoods are in this, but they don't know it. In this section, your property values are just not changing. Nothing's changing, you're just stagnant. And this can go all the way off the page and for miles, this line, because it's just a flat line. Nothing's changing. Again, leadership may not be present, or leadership may be using the same principles that they were using in the other phase for A, B. To get to C, you need to change your strategies to get from C and go the rest of the way. Now you need to start dealing with belongingness issues for the neighbors and getting them to tell their testimonies. And again, at this point, you need to stop working so much with neighbors and start working more with business owners. That's really important with C because, again, their interests are divergent. Um, Residents are worried about their property values going up, their rent's going up. So you want to stop working with them if you're a landlord and your goal is to raise cash flow and get the full potential of your property, which is pretty much what we're aiming for is to bring it in line with the median rent prices of your neighborhood. Typically, when you're dealing with this, your rents are lower because it's in a bad part of town. And the goal is to get rid of that reputation and be able to price your rents, normal rents, at regular market rate. So some things you can do. This is what we do. We hold regular parties right in the middle of the street. And when people invite their friends, it's regular potluck things. You can see we're doing a balloon toss. We do this once a year. We do it for National Night Out, but you can do it for 4th of July or any time. It doesn't take anything to make up a reason why you're going to do this. You can see ladies come from different group homes. This gives them a chance to get out, a nice, safe, alcohol-free place. See our mayor, Kevin Johnson, made an appearance. We get a lot of different people from the city council, news reporters, firemen, policemen that come to this event. It's very important to have music, get a DJ. It costs money to do that. Again, it's going to take leadership to raise funds or sort of ask other landlords to kick in $30. When I contact other landlords and ask them to chip in $40, and we pay for a good DJ to be at this event. I always present it to them as it's a cheap way of marketing their properties, and it sure is. It's done wonders for our neighborhood. Here's some more pictures of the different people we have there. We have handicapped people, just people with disabilities, young people, old people, and we're basically just doing a potluck. It's very diverse. We have people of Muslim faith with Catholic faith, Latinos, and African Americans are all wrapped in. My neighborhood, my focus neighborhood, happens to be one of the most diverse areas in Sacramento, and this is the only time that everyone intermingles in the common area, which is in the middle of the street. We also order a dumpster, which is important to do. I think this is a great technique. We order a dumpster, the city brings it to us for free because they know they need to do a dump run or trash pickup anyway. And we invite people to throw their the things that they don't want into this dumpster, and that's how they get rid of it. They're not tempted to leave it in the alleyway or on the side of the road. So it's a way of self-help, letting them clean up for themselves. And we put signs on it saying, hey, throw your stuff here. Now this was only a matter of a 10-minute phone call to the city, and people thanked me for months afterwards for organizing this. Again, I act as one of the leaders for my block, so I have this placed in front of my property, and there's all kinds of symbolic reasons why. And I have open conversations with the police department right in the middle of the street, so people who are just coming on the block understands that I'm an act. They're my friends. We know each other. It's not a good idea to try to run your drug business on this block. So this is this wrapping up, but this is the idea of what we do to break out of the lag phase to become an attraction. That's how we get on the 5 o'clock news, and how we keep ourselves organized, because it's about orderliness and giving ourselves a reasons why to contact each other for a good reason, for a good thing, for a good event. And when it's time to call each other for a correction, or tell each other, hey, I need you to fix your problem, or to get rid of that tenant, then the channels of communication are already open here. Okay, so that's a wrap up of it. This chart here shows you the A, B, C, D, the acquire, burn the boat. C stands for champion, D stands for being discovered. That's when people outside the neighborhood decide to give you a second look, when they have enough information to want to make a second opinion on you about your neighborhood. And E stands for exit, where you can sell your property or just switch to being a regular landlord. And there's a lot to this. If you want to know more, I recommend you pick up the book Building Wealth with Inner City Rentals. That's available on Amazon, or you can go to catalyticlandlord.com and take the course if you really want an in-depth understanding of the mechanics behind everything. But what I wanted to include this in our cash flow course is so that you would know that there is a way of doing things. There is a pathway. The research has been done. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. Best practices from Neighborhood Watch and things done all over the nation, revitalization efforts all over the nation, all have some common denominators. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel, and you can, if you want to assume a leadership position, be pretty confident that you can transition your neighborhood to something much better. But you would have to grow yourself as a leader personally, and anytime you grow yourself as a leader, you're going to make more cash. Your cash flow is going to be higher. On your regular day job or everywhere, leaders are just paid more. Same thing for real estate. When you choose to be a leader in a neighborhood, you're simply